Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Bree from With Love Bree, and today I'm going to be making this coin envelope box and the coin envelopes that you can put inside. If you guys did not see my most recent video, I posted it before this one, literally the same day. I show you guys me decorating the box as well as the envelopes. However, I use a silhouette cameo, so that's the reason why I'm making this video, is so that way for those of you that don't have a silhouette cameo or some kind of cutting machine, you can go ahead and just make these on your own. Okay, sorry about that. Got a little interruption there. So anyway, like I said, yeah. So for those of you that don't have a machine or anything, I'm making this tutorial so you guys can make the exact same box, exact same measurements. So when you open the box, if you guys have not watched the other video, I'll have it linked down below. There are some envelopes you can put inside, and this is perfect for Happy Meal or anything like that. I saw this on Pinterest, and they made a mini album. I think it was a designer for crepe paper, and I decorated the envelopes, and I made a huge mistake, which you will see if you watch that video. One, I used really thick foam because I wanted to go all crazy with the dimension. Totally forgot that I was needing to put 3 of them in here because now only 2 fit. But not only that, I also did one where the butterfly was hanging off of the envelope, and so that definitely will not fit in the box. So I had to keep this one out, but it kind of worked out because I was using such thick foam. Only 2 will fit because you're going to be filling, you know, the envelopes up. So this one I'm just going to gift like on the side, maybe tie it up. But yeah, so these are the things that we're going to be creating today. I'm not going to decorate the ones I make today. It's just a tutorial on how to make the bases. So we'll go ahead and get started. So what you're going to need, if I can find it, is my paper trimmer. Also, like a paper trimmer that has a scoring board, or if you have a scoring board separately, you'll need those 2 items. You don't even need a scoring board. You can even use just a regular paper trimmer, and then just have like a pencil, popsicle stick, or if you have a bone folder, you can use the bone folder even with just a regular paper trimmer. All you have to do is just slide the paper down and score. I have a scoring tool here, so I'm going to use this. And then depending on how many envelopes you need, you'll if you make 3 envelopes, this kind of holds only about 3 envelopes, so I usually recommend that. You'll need a total of 4 papers, 12 by 12, because it's going to be larger than 6 inches for the measurements of the paper. So I'm using just some scrap papers. I put all of my scrapbook papers in the storage except for my Maggie Holmes, and that was it. So this is the only paper pad that I brought just in case my mom or anybody needed some cards, because my mom did need some cards to send out. So I just bought one. I brought one that's neutral. And then I was also donating a lot of pattern paper pads. So I kept one that has like thin pages. There was like, I think 180 sheets or something like that of these thin papers. It was by Die Cuts with a View, and I've had them for years. And so I kept it just so I can make templates with them. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to make the box first. So choose your pattern paper that you would like to use. I'm going to use this one here. I purposely chose these patterns, these here, because there is a specific pattern and which way it has to go. So that's why I chose it, because I want to make sure you guys are scoring so that your pattern paper doesn't end up backwards or sideways. Alright, so we're going to start off with the box. So that's this here. It's like shaky. And we're going to go ahead and open this up here. And I'm going to cut my paper. Again, this is for the box. I'm going to cut my sheet of paper down to 8.5 by 8 inches. So for the 8.5-inch side, you want to make sure your paper is going up and down, because this is when your box, it's going to be this way. So you want to make sure your paper is going towards you, or your pattern. So we're going to go ahead and cut this again at 8.5. by 8 inches. And if you guys know me, I like to do all my cutting and scoring and gluing all at the same time. So we're going to cut for the envelope as well. For the envelope, you're going to cut a piece that measures 6 5/8 by 6 1/8. And then for this one also, you also want to make sure that your pattern paper, the long side, your pattern is going up and down towards you. I know that this one's kind of confusing because it can go either way, but whatever way you choose to have your pattern paper go, make sure it's going towards you. So cut this off, and I'm going to cut this to 6 5/8. 6 5/8 is right in between 6 3/4 and 6 1/2, because a lot of these measurements are in the eighths. So yeah. And then again, you're going to score or cut at 6 1/8. I don't know why, but with this paper, this trimmer does not like this paper, because all the other paper that I use does not give me a hard time. Okay. It might be the paper that it's made of. Okay, so I'm going to turn this into a scoring tool now. And we're going to start with the box. So with the box, we're going to start at 6 1/8. Or sorry. For the box, we're going to start on the 8.5-inch side. And then just make sure that, again, that your pattern is, while you're scoring right now, is facing towards you, so it's going upright. Okay, so now you're going to score on the 8.5-inch side at 3 1/4. Four inches, 7 1/4, and 8. All right. So again, I'll have the measurements on the screen, but you're going to score at 3 1/4, 4, 7 1/4, and 8. And then you're going to flip your paper and you're going to turn it going to the right, so like this. And you're going to score at 1 3/8. Yeah, 1 3/8, 2 1/8, 6 3/8, and 7 1/8. And you want to make sure now that your paper is facing towards the left. So if your paper, let's say, oh, maybe this wasn't a good paper because they're all the same. How can I say? So when you had your paper like this, your pattern was going up and down. Then when you flip it this way, now it's going, your paper is going down this way to your left. I hope that makes sense, because this is going to be the top of your box here. So you just want to make sure it's facing the right side up. Okay, so that's the box. Now we're going to move to the envelopes. So again, if you're making 4 of these, you're going to do the exact same steps for all 4, or 3, 2, whatever. So we're going to start on the 6 5/8-inch side. And again, you want to make sure that your paper is going the way that you want it, going up and down. And we're going to score 2 score marks here. We're going to score at 3 6 1/8. And then you're going to do the same thing here. You're going to flip it going to the right, and you're going to score at 1 3/8, which is in between the 1/2 inch and the 1/4 inch. So if you have this tool, it's on there, so it works out. And then at 5 1/2. I hate this 1/2 inch one because it kind of shifts. See, and it makes me like go into a different score line. It's so weird. Huh. Okay, so we have 5 1/2. And I cut this paper a little short. It should be 6 1/8. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know why I cut it that short. Okay, so I cut I cut my paper a little short the last time. So I just cut another sheet and then I just rescored it. So I'll go over the scores again. So on the 6 1/8 inch side, you're gonna score at 1 3/8 and 5 1/2 inches. So you should be left with a pretty good amount at the bottom here. About 5/8 of an inch. When you swap your sides from the 6 5/8, you want to swap it this way to the right, and then you want to score at 1 3/8 and 5 1/2. Okay, so there they are. All right, now I think, yeah, that's it for the scoring. The rest is going to be cutting your pattern paper. So I'll get rid of this. And I'm gonna, just so you guys can see how they look, we're gonna go ahead and do the folding and cutting and gluing together now. So what you're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and fold all of my creases. And this is some thick cardstock, so I'm just gonna use my tool here to just crease everything. But yeah, so if you guys are interested in seeing the decoration process, I'm gonna have a real time video of that posted before this, so, and it'll be linked down below. And I'm just gonna fold all of my lines, so that way when we cut, we just cut them all at the same time. And then if you're interested in the cut file, I'll have that linked down below. If I forget on this video, I will have the link in my other video for sure. So check that video out if you don't see a link down here. Alright, so now we have all of this. So what we're going to do is we're going to start cutting our paper. So we're going to start with the box first, so I'm going to set this aside. When we're cutting, you want to just, I always have the shorter score line. You guys can see there's like the shorter end on the right side of me. So what you're going to do is we're going to do some cuts here. For each one of these, you guys can see there's like this in the middle in here. You want to cut from the bottom of the paper up to the second score line. So I like to cut on the, let's show you here. So I like to cut just right on the left side of this score line. And then same thing here. I'm going to go a little bit on the outside of the line. So you have this like flap. We're going to do the same thing onto the short side here. We're going to turn this over, and you're going to do the same exact thing on this side. Yeah, cut that one a little crooked. Okay, so now you have all these little dangly pieces at the bottom, right? So all we need really here is just one square. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut these squares out, these bottom ones. And I'm going to do these step by step. I'm not going to skip any steps because I don't want you guys to get confused, because you can definitely cut out a lot more than what I'm doing right now, but again, I don't want to make this confusing. So now you have those two. We're going to do the same thing up here and just get rid of these two flaps up here. Okay, so now we have something that looks like this. So this is kind of odd here on this end, right? So what we're going to do, bring it closer to you, we are actually going to get rid of these two bottom ones. So these are going to go away. But what you want to do is, so since we're getting rid of these here, you want to miter, because you see this here, this first score line, you're going to miter going upwards towards that line there to get rid of that. So this is what the piece looks like now. And you're going to do the same thing here. You're going to flip it. You're going to go downwards and get rid of that. So it should look like this. I think you guys can see that's coming together now. Alright, so we're making a box here. We can't have two flaps on the sides or else they won't close. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of one. The one that you want to get rid of is the one where you have the extra score line. So you're going to get rid of these two here and these two here. You can use your paper trimmer or your scissors, it's up to you. I'm just going to use my scissors because I'm right here. And I'm literally going to cut this off. And the same thing here, I'm just going to cut this off. Alright, so now you're left with this. And this is exactly what you want. It's going to look weird because there's no rounded edges. So if you want to round your corners, I would round the corners now. And I'll show you guys where to punch your holes too. So, but we'll do that with the envelope once the envelope is all made. So I'm going to use my corner chomper. If you guys have one, use it. I'm going to use on these ends my 1/2 inch. And I'm going to chomp up these edges. And then for these right here, if you want to chop these corners off, you can. It's really up to you. I like that look, this here with the silhouette. It does a little tiny like chomp. So I'm gonna put this away, and I'm actually gonna use this. This is a 1/2 inch punch by xoxo. If you have something similar, you can do this too. But if you go to the corner and you just slide this in, you don't slide it in all the way. You just slide it into where you can see like a little tiny piece peeking through, and just make sure it's even and punch it, and you get this like tiny little corner chomp. So that's what I'm going to do here. And you could see they're just such a tiny little chomp, because if you do the whole 1/2 inch, the 1/2 inch is going to definitely be a lot bigger. So I like that you can control this one and punch it. Again, this is an EK Success punch. I'm not sure if it's still available, but I've had it for a while, and I don't know what made me want to bring it with me today, or from the storage, but I'm glad I did, because I'm not trying to go to the storage for a while. Alright, so now that's all done. So we could put all our punches away for now. We're going to go ahead and work on the envelope next. So we'll set this one aside. Now for the envelope, with the envelope on the, what is it? On the machine, there's like a little curl, so that way when you go into the envelope, I'll show you, there's like this lip, so that way you guys can reach in there easily. For this one, you can use a circle die, a circle punch to do that. What I did on my template is I just did a triangle. So it looks just as nice, so we're going to go ahead and do that. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and, so what we're going to do is you're going to cut every score line here up to the first score line going up. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut this one, this here, this one, and this one. So now you're left with these flaps. And for the envelope, I have the shorter side on the left side this time. Okay, so you want to go ahead and get rid of these flaps here. And we're going to do the same thing, we're going to miter it. So you want to just cut in an angle to that score line in the corner. Same thing here. Just like that. So it looks like this. And then what you're going to do next, we want to get rid of one of these, or these. So on the side where it's where you have the shortest piece, you want to keep these on there. You're going to cut these two off next. Okay, so you're left with something like this. Now, if you want to die cut your circle out, you can do it now. If you want to make this one here, you can measure the center of this if you'd like. I eyeball. And I just cut down how far I want to go. You can go as far down as you want. And you're going to go from this corner to the center. And same thing on this end. You know what, I'm going to go upwards because I think it's easier. So, just like that. Alright, and then what I'm going to do is I am going to, let me see if I miter these. Okay, I'm going to miter these just a little bit so it's easy to fold. And then I'm going to, again, use this corner rounder, this 1/2 inch one, and just do some corner rounding. So you can see it's a very small corner round. And then for this one, I'm just going to use, I think I'm going to use this again to match. I'm going to do the 1/2 inch. Okay. And then there is one thing that I want to talk to you guys about with the box. Just so that way it folds a little bit easier, I'm actually going to miter these too. So what you do is you literally go from here and go towards the center. You're just cutting a little strip off to create that gap. I'm going to do that to both sides. I'm just doing a very small amount. So when I lay this down, you can see there's like these little gaps. Oh, I don't know if you saw, she just kicked. Like this. And I'm going to do the same thing here so it kind of matches up. And I could just re-round the corners. Okay. So now, I'm just going to quickly round these. That's why I like this punch, because I can kind of move it around to where I want to punch it. Because sometimes when your paper is angled, it will not allow you to get a good rounded edge. This one. Alright, so now we have these. So now what you're going to do is, if you want to put eyelets, if you have a crocodile that is an extended reach crocodile, you can definitely do the eyelets and have your punch go down where you need it. To get them lined up, you would have to act as if you were putting the envelope together. And then you would just mark where you would want it. I use a ruler for that part. But again, I don't have an extended eyelet, because at the silhouette, with the silhouette cameo, they pre-punch the holes, and I totally forgot my crocodile doesn't go that far. Not crocodile, but my what is this? The eyelet punch. So what I'm gonna do, okay, sorry about that. So like I was saying, I used a 1-inch circle punch. If you use a 1-inch circle punch or a certain punch, I would cut these out first and make your little reinforcers. So that way you can measure the difference, because that's where I messed up here. When I showed you guys, I need a smaller punch, which I don't have with me, but you could see it hangs over the envelope. So with this, let's just say we didn't do that. What you want to do is you want to temporarily put your box together. And I'm going to place this right here. And I'm going to use my crocodile to punch it. If you don't have a crocodile, just use your awl tool and just poke a hole in there. And then what you do is you take another reinforcer and you kind of line it up, get it centered. And again, I don't have a tool to get through there, so I just use an awl. And then now it lines up perfectly, so when you use a brad, if you're going to use a brad, you want to do it now. So let me grab a brad. Okay, so for each pocket you do need 2 brads. So I'm gonna, again, if you're using brads, you want to do this now. Same with the eyelets, you want to just do your closures before you shut your box and your envelopes. So I'm gonna place these down, and I can't do the envelope because I did it wrong. So I might either cut that part out, or yeah, I'm probably gonna cut that part out because I don't want to like give you guys the wrong thing and then now you can't use your reinforcers, because that's just weird. See how they overlap? So let's pretend that I do have my reinforcers on here. We're gonna go ahead and put it together. So let me sit down for this. I'm gonna use my Barely Arts glue, and I'm going to glue this side piece down first. So I'm going to put glue on there. And then I'm going to put the bottom flap over all of that. Just like when you would see a coin envelope. Alright, and then that finishes up the coin envelope. So you can see you can go in there, grab some goodies, put some goodies in there, and then it matches perfectly with this one. You can see the measurements are the exact same. And then now for the box, super easy. What I like to do is I like to put the adhesive on the small strip here. If you're using double-sided tape, you can. I like to fold this literally like this. So you can see this score line's folded. Just gonna crease it. And now your box is made like that. Perfectly. Alright, and then all you're gonna do is, for the bottom, you don't even have to worry about gluing it. You just tuck the bottom in. And it's so snug that like it literally, you could tell it's in there good. It's like very flush. You don't have to glue anything. And then this top part is going to get shut with some floss, which you will see in my other video. So if you want to see the decoration process, you guys can. But that's how the box looks. And then when you have the envelope made, it goes in there. Alright, so I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful. I know I kind of suck at tutorials, but I really hope that you guys are able to follow and kind of get an idea of how to make one. Just so you know, those of you that don't have a cutting machine aren't left out. But yeah, these are super cute to have some goodies in. And then also, I hope that like the reinforcer part didn't confuse you. Just use, before you cut your holes or anything and before you put the box together, as well as the envelope, have your reinforcements already made. So if you're making them yourself, if they're smaller, bigger, you can measure where you want to make your holes, just so you know exactly where you want them. Alright, so I hope you guys found this tutorial helpful, and I hope that you guys have a great day, whatever day it is that you guys are watching this. Please stay safe. I know that they're lifting a lot of states right now, the guidelines and stuff. But just continue being safe, wear your masks, and just, yeah, have a great day, whatever day it is that you guys are watching this, and I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!